Hey, Jeff here.
Sports
are a big part of cultures all around the world, but today we're going to talk about the NFL and NFL stadiums in America, and more specifically, one-star reviews of these stadiums and see what went so wrong for some people. So if you like the video, make sure you leave a like if you like it and subscribe if you haven't yet, and let's just jump into these reviews. The first stadium up on our tour here is Levi Stadium in Santa Clara, California, home to the San Francisco 49ers. Named after the Gold Rush 49ers of 1849. The stadium has a rating of 4.4 on 12,393 reviews, so let's dive into some of those. David visited here about a year ago. Let's see what happened. Levi Stadium was the worst experience for my first time attending a football game. My seats were stolen and the metal seat numbers were pried off, so I couldn't even verify my seats. But I knew exactly which seats I purchased because I took a screenshot of my seats when I selected them, and I showed it to the people in my seats and the ushers. The people in my seats were not willing to show us their tickets and got very aggressive towards me and the ushers who were trying to help. Even when the guest service manager tried to step in, he got cussed out. So after all the back and forth, I basically missed the whole game. They told me for my own safety, they finally put me and my girlfriend in the 501 VIP area for the last 4 minutes and 35 seconds of the fourth quarter, where I watched the game from a flat screen TV. I could have just done the same thing from home and saved a 400-mile trip. After the game was over, there was also a huge fight in the parking lot, and the police just stood there and watched. I'm a little bit befuddled after reading this. Like, how did those people get to stay in the seats without verifying their tickets? And if the guy is showing their ticket, the usher should know, especially guest service managers should know that that is David's seat. This is a very confusing one, and a huge fight in the parking lot after a football game? Say what? That happens at high school games all the time too. And man, getting cussed out by the people in the seats, this is an absolute nightmare for me. Time for the next review. This review is from Gail. Worst guest services, especially to seniors. Too busy drinking coffee or watching the game. Mean usher. Lost my seat and he yelled at me. Second usher, too busy drinking. Drinking or drinking coffee is my real question for this one. But also, what's up with people getting yelled at for their seats being taken? Why is the usher yelling at someone if they got up to like go get a drink or buy something to eat and they came back and someone else is in their seat? Why would the usher yell at them? I feel like something's missing out from this story, like usual, but that's alright. Let's go to the next review. Let's hear it for Earl. I wish I could rate it 0 stars. Levi's Stadium is an absolute disaster. From the moment I arrived, I knew it was going to be a nightmare. The parking lot was a war zone, and I had to fend off aggressive drivers just to find a spot miles away. Once inside, the food lines were endless, and when I finally got something, it was cold and gross. The seats were beyond uncomfortable, and to top it off, I got robbed in the bathroom by a guy in the mascot costume. The staff was useless, the restrooms were disgusting, and I wouldn't go back even if they paid me. Levi Stadium is the worst place on earth. Wait, whoa, he got robbed in the bathroom by someone in the mascot costume? What? I don't appreciate how Earl just glossed over that part, and I highly doubt he was robbed in the bathroom by somebody in a mascot costume. Like, those costumes are huge, and those bathrooms at those stadiums are just packed tight. So what is Earl going on about? But I'm not too sure, but let's move on to the next stadium. The next stadium up is actually the only one on this list that I've been to, and I've been to it multiple times, and that's Lambeau Field in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Full disclosure. I am a Green Bay Packers fan, but I will not let that cloud my judgment. Lambeau Field has a 4.8 rating on 20,513 reviews. The Packers are named after a very early sponsorship from a local packing company, if you didn't know, because a lot of people don't know that. Alright, let's get into these reviews. Let's see what Micah had to say. So overrated. Who chose to put bleachers? Imagine sitting there in the winter. Also, the stadium design is horrible. I really do have to agree with the bleacher thing there, because having metal bleachers in an environment that's so cold like Wisconsin can get really does stink. My first game was at a game that was 0 degrees Fahrenheit, which is also 0 degrees Celsius, and it was freezing cold, but it was a playoff game, so we were standing up the whole time. But it was not fun. I was in so many layers, it made it like impossible to go to the bathroom. Dang it, Meg. She went to a rivalry game. What happened to her? Went to the Viking-Packer game today. My husband told me the fans here are great and won't be jerks as long as you aren't, so I kept to myself as a Viking fan. However, he was dead wrong. We were surrounded by belligerent drunks on all sides. One guy pushed me and laughed in my face after the Vikings didn't convert a fourth. A completely wasted guy fell on me. A group was throwing peanuts at us and other people. Another drunk was spouting off words even my 12 and 14-year-old children were shocked to hear. It was awful. The fans are terrible. Apparently a lot has changed since my husband regularly went to the games. I will never bring my children here again. Terrible experience. Like I said at the beginning of this review, this is a rivalry game, so the fans are extra rowdy, and depending on the time of the day that this was, it could have been a night game, so fans are outside drinking all day. It's very, very difficult to go to any football game as an outsider, unless you guys have some personal experiences that are better. But I know a lot of Viking fans that'll get crap, but I have a friend who's married to a Vikings fan, and they went to a game on New Year's Eve together, and she was fine, but I don't know. I guess every fan has a different experience, but man, this one really stinks. I cannot stand being around drunk people like that, especially people being all nosy like that. Like, ugh, not fun. All right, next review. Don't take it, don't leave it, but this review comes from Penny. We're big Packer fans and we're excited to see our first family night and brought all 4 kids. We were very disappointed. I almost fell backwards as there were no railings on the back of the section in front of us. Then I could barely watch anything on the field because my seat was at the causeway, and I swear people spent more time going up and down the stairs than actually watching the field. Same people, up, down, up, down. Do you even go to watch the game? Then they gave out these annoying air-filled bats which kids just love to bang, and that noise overtook the rest of everything else. On top of all of that, instead of checking purses, they make you buy plastic see-through ones to enter the stadium. Catch up with the times and check the bags instead of telling me I have to throw away a $150 purse to go watch a $10 practice. Get real. We won't be attending any more family nights. I don't think I even want to watch a game there. It was just not an enjoyable experience. We prefer the practices across the street though. I'm a little confused by how they almost fell backwards because of the section in front of them had no railing. Were they standing up looking backwards on the field? I'm a little confused by that. But also the people going up, down, up, down, up, down the stairs, that also drives me nuts when I go to sporting events. And I've been to games with my friends before where they just spend the entire time walking around a stadium. Like, it doesn't matter if it's a basketball game, football, baseball. And I'm like, we paid to come and watch the game. Why aren't you watching the game? So I can understand that. And those air-filled bats that bang, 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 bang. Man, Penny sounds like they had a terrible experience, and I can relate to that. But the plastic see-through bag thing, like, can you imagine how long it would take to check everyone's bags? Imagine, I don't know, 60,000 people at a game, and everyone had to have their bag checked. It would take you 5-6 hours to get into the game. That's why they go for the see-through, because it makes it quicker. Unless I'm missing something, I don't know. Probably am. All right, next stadium. For our next stop, we're heading to Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City, Kansas, home to the Kansas City Chiefs, named after what you call somebody when you don't remember their name. Holding a 4.7 rating on 15,200 reviews, this stadium is a very, very popular stadium since the Chiefs have been a 2-time Super Bowl champ the last couple of years. So let's go read some 1-star reviews. The first review for Arrowhead Stadium comes from Chris. Went to the game today. Disappointed. Parking's expensive and chaotic. Food is meh. No interesting draft beer, urinals or troughs. Flooding in the bathroom and a long wait to get in the stadium. Way better experience than other stadiums for less money. If you've never experienced a good pee trough before, you're really missing out. That's a good experience. Shoulder to shoulder, hip to hip with another man, just going to the bathroom, that's an experience. If you're a lady out there, I feel bad you would love your experience that, but what kind of flooding was going on in the bathroom? Was it from the pee troughs overflowing? Gross. This is a wild review. Sounds like a pretty chaotic and old stadium. I didn't know that. Let's keep reading. Let's read what Jason had to say. Don't go if you expect to be able to see sitting from your seat. You'll have to stand the whole time. I'm on row 2 and literally cannot see any action unless I'm literally standing the whole time. This is ridiculous. Not good. Not good. Not good. Lucky for us, Jason actually included a little bit of context in the form of pictures. I'll show them on the screen now in larger form. You see I have a Jones and Kelsey in the way on the one side, a guy in a blue shirt and some athletic shorts on the other side, but you can see the Chargers to the left there. And then the last picture, you have a guy with some shades on at the Pat Mahomes, hands on his hips. He looks just disappointed in his team, and I'm sure they feel pretty bad for letting him down. And why is Pat Mahomes in the crowd? Haha. Alright, let's move on to the next one. Jason showed up to Arrowhead Stadium as an opposing fan and things didn't go well. Let's see what happened. Chiefs fans are the worst. Got cussed and threatened all the way for my truck to the lot. Paid good money for AFC Championship ticks. Had cheese sauce and other things thrown at me for just wearing a Bengals jersey. I had to leave it in the third quarter because of the drunk fans threatening me. Chiefs fans are trash. I'm Purple Heart veteran, and they're lucky I didn't lose myself and hurt a bunch of them. The stadium is a dump. I wish I would have stayed home. Oh man, this is kind of a sad one. Paid good money for AFC Championship ticks. Got sick from the ticks. Ha, kidding. But no, he had cheese sauce and everything thrown at him, and he's a Purple Heart veteran, so he fought for his country, got hurt during that, and went to a game and had stuff thrown at him. I'm glad he didn't lose himself either. For context, Jennifer left this review 1 year ago. Let's read it. Chiefs suck this year, and the tipping culture is insane. There is no option to not tip, and I'm not handing over money for doing your job. Within the time frame of Jennifer leaving this review, the Chiefs did come off a Super Bowl and won another Super Bowl, so they definitely do not suck. And I can agree with the tipping culture, especially at a place like that, especially self-serve places, like where you have to grab your own drink, you go up to like a register, the person scans it, and it says leave a tip, like I'm supposed to give you $1 for grabbing a drink out of a cooler. I feel bad, but man, just pay the people more and there won't be tips. America is just weird with their tipping culture, right? Alright, let's move on to the next stadium. We're gonna head on down to the bayou to the Caesars Superdome in New Orleans, Louisiana. Narlands, New Orleans, Nolans, however you want to say it. I don't care, but we're going down there. The Superdome is home to the New Orleans Saints during the regular season for the NFL, but this year in 2025, it is home to the Super Bowl. That's right, the Super Bowl is going to be happening at the Superdome. Wow, they named it after the Super Bowl? I don't know. But alright, let's read some of these one-star reviews. The first super awesome review for the Superdome comes from Super Lamar. Okay, that's the end of supers, I'm sorry. Super salad? Alright, now I'm done. Horrible experience. Seats are small and tight. Can't not believe Super Bowl is coming here. Not the place to be. Feels old and outdated. Well, at least they have actual seats and not just bleachers like some of these other stadiums, and I'm sure New Orleans, the city itself, is one awesome city to host a Super Bowl, even if the stadium itself is quote-unquote old and outdated, but let's see if that theme stays throughout the rest of the reviews. This review was left 2 weeks ago from when I found it. Let's see what Tommy had to say. It's ridiculous that this dome is in the state that it is. The terrace seats are broken, and there are no cup holders. Things in the bathroom do not function. Exposed beams are covered in dust and debris. Caesars has enough money behind it, but it should upgrade this venue. It felt like Tommy was onto something by saying Caesars has enough money behind it, but then it says, but it should upgrade the venue? Shouldn't it say, like, so it should upgrade the venue? I'm not too sure. But what in the bathroom doesn't function? Is everything just overflowing and flooded at this place too? Seems like a very rundown place to be hosting the Super Bowl, one of the most watched sporting events of the entire year. But hey, I'm not going. I don't care. Let's move on to the next review. Eduardo's caps lock was on for the beginning of this, so bear with me as I try to keep up.
Awful place. I don't recommend it. They treat tourists very badly. I bought tickets and they didn't allow me to enter.
I had a problem with my flight and I arrived late for a game. Even though there was a whole quarter left in the game, I had purchased tickets. They didn't allow me to enter and treated me like a dog. I don't recommend it. For a lot of sporting events and a lot of things in general, like concerts and stuff, after a certain amount of time, they will not allow people in or even admit people who have tickets just for like probably security reasons and stuff. They don't have enough people to be like letting people in the whole time. Those people have to transition to other jobs, maybe. I'm not too sure. If you know, let me know in the comments down below, but I feel very badly for this person. They had to fly all the way somewhere, show up to the stadium and get turned away. Oh man, I'd be very upset, but next time, stay home. No, I don't know. All right, let's read the next one. Now it's time for the capital of Oregon. It's Eugene's turn. Never attend a concert in a stadium designed for loud football crowds. Music was muddled. Could not understand lyrics or spoken words, and Garth fans sang louder than the audio system. Love Garth. Hated him at the Superdome. There's nothing that can take you more out of a concert than a bad sound system. I've been to a concert of some of my favorite bands before, and the sound system was so muddled you could barely hear it. And I'm like, I've waited all this time to see these bands live, and they stink. But I've also been to like a live concert at like a really small venue for a really good band, and the audio is just amazing. So I would never really like to go to a concert inside of a dome. Like, wouldn't everything just vibrate and echo? Like, right? Or am I mistaken? So we're gonna head from New Orleans and head up to New York, but not to New York City. We're actually going to head up to Orchard Park around the city of Buffalo to the Highmark Stadium, home to the Buffalo Bills. Fun fact about the Buffalo Bills, they are the only NFL team to actually play their home games in the state of New York because the Jets and the Giants both play in New Jersey. That is a fun fact, and let's get into some of these reviews. The first review for Highmark Stadium comes from John. This stadium kinda sucks. Went through security and got stopped for a suspicious bulge in my pocket. It was an empty paper bag and my wallet. Then got in trouble for the free stuff they were giving away in the parking lot. I got confused because they kept trying to have me re-enter the metal detectors, but people were behind me already going through. So I emptied my pockets and was told what's in the pocket after emptying everything out. I was pissed, so I just walked away into the stadium. Alright, so what I'm gathering from John here is he got a bunch of free swag out in the parking lot, was going through the metal detectors and something went off. He misunderstood emptying his pockets, tried to empty them, and they were like, no, you still have to empty them, and he got so mad he just walked into the stadium anyways and left all of his stuff there. I'm a little confused by this. It sounds like he was still seeing red when he left this review. Does it get any better for Ashley? Let's find out. Worst experience I've had at any event I've been to. Took 40 minutes to get into the event, another 35 minutes to use the restroom. Not to mention the security here is an absolute mockery. People stealing seats, standing in the middle of the aisle the entire time, smoking literally in front of security, then the dude high-fives the security guard. This entire ordeal was a joke from start to finish. Never again. Daniel's review is more about working at the stadium than going to the stadium. Let's see what he had to say. Got to work at the stadium, cleaned the snow for everybody, and then was left to go home with a bruised foot. What fun times in Buffalo! Where Buffalo is located, they experience lake effect snow from the Great Lakes in America, so they can get a ton of snow in a very short amount of time, and they employ locals to clear the snow, usually for like 20 bucks an hour, and you go out there with a shovel and you get to clear the snow. That sounds pretty fun. They do the same kind of thing for Lambeau Field too. Pretty neat. Alright, let's go on to the next review. Let's see what happened to Mike 11 months ago. Team will never win anything meaningful. Parking is terrible. Takes more than an hour to get out of the official lot of this dumpy stadium. Well, at the time of the release of this video, the Buffalo Bills could be playing for a chance in the Super Bowl, so Michael could be eating his own words. And an hour to get out of the lot's not that terrible when there's 60,000 people all in one place trying to get on the same roads, but I can understand the frustration. I wouldn't be surprised if Michael wrote this review stuck in traffic in the parking lot, still being angry. Alright. Next stadium. Get ready. No, we're not going to Disney World. We're going to Jerry World, also known as the AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas, home to your Dallas Cowboys. Ooh. Oh, sorry, I just got a little sick from saying that. Jerry Jones is the owner of the Dallas Cowboys, and he's the one that built AT&T Stadium, which is why I call it Jerry World. Plus, it had some ridiculous things in the stadium when it first came out, like the giant screen in the middle. The stadium also has a 4.7 rating on 41,960 reviews. That's the most reviews of any of these stadiums on here, so let's go in and read some. The first review for the Cowboys is a recent one from Eric. Let's see what he had to say. The Cowboys helmet with 1 star appropriately represents their performance. Location and facility is amazing. Team representing the facility providing the entertainment is tough to watch, but oh, the third downs. The Cowboys' third down performance is like watching a toddler trying to solve a Rubik's Cube. You appreciate the effort, but you know it's not going to end well. Whether it's a poorly timed penalty, a dropped pass, or a play call that leaves you scratching your head wondering why I didn't read about this game the next day on the internet. The double cheeseburger at the concession stand at 106 was super salty. Other than that, 5 stars. The way that Eric ended that review by saying the double cheeseburger was super salty, but other than that, 5 stars, makes it sound like that. The entire review was actually really, really good, but the burger just did him in. But I like this review, as if Jerry Jones is sifting through these. You know, Eric's onto something. Our third down performance was pretty bad. I'm gonna fix that. Yeah, no, they won't fix it. Alright, next review. It's time for everybody's favorite mall store. That's right, it's Spencer's turn. Bought a $150 ticket and was told I wasn't allowed into the stadium. Bought a ticket for the Big 12 championship. There was a wreck on the I-45 coming up from Houston, so I didn't get into the stadium until late. Was told I'm not allowed into the stadium after the half. I want my money back. What a racket. I'm sure it says something in the fine print on the ticket saying that you're not allowed into the game until after halftime. It has to be like a security or a personnel thing. Like they don't have enough people to let people in until after halftime, and they want to contain people. I'm not too sure. If you know, let me know. I guess I could look it up, but that's half the fun, is just taking a wild guess. Alright, next review. Up next is BH. You take a guess for what it means. Let's see what they had to say. It's fitting that the stadium is next door to a super Walmart, because it's definitely the great value brand equivalent for stadiums, but it's fan friendly. There are no walk-up ramps or escalators. When the Cowgirls eventually lose at the last minute like they did when I was there, it took me 45 minutes just to get outside the building. What makes it worse is that it's completely overpriced and they won't play any other game in the stadium to watch when you're there. Going to a professional sporting event is a lot like going to the movies. All of the prices are inflated for snacks and drinks. But I'm a little confused by what they mean. They won't play any other game in the stadium to watch while you're there. So they don't play any other games from around the league. Like if you go into a bar, you can't watch any other. I mean, that seems to be pretty typical for many stadiums I've been to, unless you go to like a bar offside. I don't know why they would be showing other games. I'm a little confused by what BH means by that, but I'm always confused. Let's see what Danny has to say. As a Cowboy fan, was very disappointed the stadium tour. You don't see anything special. All the talk about is how many restroom, TVs, restaurants. Show a big window that shows the steel column which you can see outside. Let us seat on $10,000 seats, telling us how it feels to seat on those seats. Showing us blue tile on the floor where the Cowboy players park their cars for the first hour. The last 25 minutes get to see is the cheerleader locker room. Cowboys lock a room. No trophies or Super Bowl rings are in the building. Sorry, don't waste your time. One more thing, the Cowboy Field was gone due to a concert. Oh man, that sounds like an absolute terrible tour that Danny went on. They just brag about how many bathrooms they have. What kind of tour is that? At least you get to see the blue tile where the Cowboys park for the first hour. Is that the first hour of the tour? The first hour where the Cowboys park and then like chauffeurs go out there and move the cars? I'm a little confused. But hey, like I said before, I'm always confused. Let's go to the next stadium. Not slow, not fast, not soft. It's the Hard Rock Stadium down in Miami Gardens, Florida, home to the Miami Dolphins. Holding a 4.6 rating on 17,453 reviews, this stadium is known for being very, very hot and being set up in a way where the opposing team is in the sun and it can be like 30-40 degrees hotter for them than the home team, the Dolphins. So let's go read some of these one-star reviews. First up in Miami is Jim. Not ideal for a great fan experience. Parking made for a long walk, no AC in stadium, no shade. Club was basic. Well, the Miami Stadium is an open-air stadium, so AC would just kind of blow right out. It should probably be a dome based on the weather in Miami, but I don't like domes in football, so that's my 2 cents there. And the long walk sounds just terrible. A long walk in nice Miami heat, even if it is like November, December, you're going to get nice and soggy before the game. Next review. Samantha had a long story, but it's a good story, so stay tuned for this one. I promise it's worth it. My dad paid for suite-level season tickets for the Dolphins this 2023 year, and you guys had the nerve to give us parking spot in the hood, 2.5 miles away from the stadium. I recorded the walk on my Apple Watch. That is 4 to 5 miles walking total to go to a Dolphins game. My feet have blisters from walking in my Converse. My shoes were also ruined from the mud. The parking is along a service canal that's become extremely muddy and unsafe. No police watching cars until game lets out. Just wait until 1 p.m. games where people are getting all dehydrated and drunk, and you want them to walk in that sun and cross a busy intersection? No shuttle to help people out, and it took 40 minutes to get out of the lot to University Drive to go home. Mind you, this was only preseason. How do you sell parking passes and a lot that becomes full before we even arrive? The parking we were sent to should be overflow for people who purchase their random tickets for last-minute games. All the space you wasted on your Formula 1 track for a race one time a year can be modified for football season. You guys should make those spots happen again. There is so many spots that can be used like they used to for football parking. Do better, Hard Rock Stadium. Truly disappointed. You guys smell that? It smells like season ticket holder entitlement. I like the line about the lot being full before they arrive, because they probably show up a little bit closer to the start time than they should, which is understandable, but if you're going to a pro game, you probably should show up early. And I like the line about the overflow lot should be for those random people who buy tickets at the last minute to the game, because, you know, the season ticket holders, they're better than anyone else. It's that entitlement. It just kind of reeks off this. Am I right? Am I wrong? You let me know. Next up for our Miami experience, it's Ellie. We paid for preseason tickets. And when we arrived, there was a massive traffic at the exit, and since we haven't been to the stadium in 6 years, we had no idea the parking had changed. The guy directing the traffic told us to park in lot 20. There was no lot 20. People were walking miles to get to the stadium. It was a huge turnoff. We ended up not going. It was frustrating finding parking. I'd rather watch at a restaurant or home. The parking is what did it for us. Please let me know if you've ever been to a Miami Dolphins game, because I have no idea how the parking would work, but if you have to walk miles again to the stadium, that sounds really, really rough, especially, like I said, in the Miami heat. In September, it could still be 90, 100 degrees down there. That sounds just terrible. And with that, you've made it to the end of the video, which means you must have liked me for some reason, so make sure you leave a like and subscribe if you haven't, because I'm Jeff, and I'd love to see you again. Alright, good. Bye.